Well, hey ho, folks. Here we are again. Welcome to Welsh British. Well, I was going to come on yesterday actually and say something about our dictator, Andy Capp Burnham. Ah, dear. But I didn't get round to it. I've been watching sort of stuff on YouTube and various other places and so on as to what's going on. And to be honest, there's been so much stuff about this new government of Andy Capp Burnham. You remember Andy Capp, the cartoon? Andy Capp Burnham? There's been so much that it'd be difficult to tell whether one's coming or going, really. So I had to have a think about it to digest it and stuff like that. And I don't know if you've been watching stuff as well, but rather amazing, really. Such a lot of stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just try and say a little bit, and then you can send me some comments and we can go from there, really. So anyway, Mr. Burnham, you said going back to the 70s. Going back to the 70s? Absolutely amazing, isn't it? I don't know whether he's saying that because he genuinely believes that the 70s was a good time, or whether he's trying to make it out to be a good time, hoping that no one will remember what the 70s were like. Well, I can remember the 70s. I can remember the time towards the end of the 70s when the general election came up in 1979. Now, what was happening sort of in the mid to late 70s was it was Labour governments were getting us more and more in debt. The trade unions were incredibly strong. There was rubbish piled in the streets through strikes. There was the army driving big goddess fire engines because the firefighters were out on strike. There was a 3-day week at one part of it, but that was under Edward Heath. There's a 3-day week. There was rubbish piled in the streets, and there was the army going out doing fires because the firemen were on strike. It seemed that everybody was on strike. It seemed the economy was on its knees. It was a right mess. And then coming up before the general election in 79, the Labour government had to go begging, bowl in hand, to the International Monetary Fund to get massive loans. And of course, when the International Monetary Fund have to step in, when countries are that desperate, there's two main things that tend to happen. Is the interest rate is high because the people lending you money have got a lot less confidence in you because you're in such a financial mess. That was the first thing. And the second thing was they have they put restrictions around the loan, or conditions, should I say. The conditions would be something like cutting welfare, and cutting this and cutting that, and various other things. Not necessarily what a government would want to do, especially a Labour government that finds it very hard to come to terms with admitting it when we're in a mess. Like to go in denial and like to borrow and spend, borrow and spend, borrow and spend. And in the end, towards the mid 70s and the end of the 70s, it was coming to the limits where Labour governments couldn't borrow and spend anymore because people weren't going to be lending them money. That's why they had to beg to the International Monetary Fund. And that's why we got a higher interest rate and a lot of conditions put in for the loan. So that was the 1970s. And then what happened in 1979? Then Margaret Thatcher won the election, and she told the country that we were in a mess, in the shit, right in it, up to our necks, and that it was going to be very difficult to get out of it, and people would have to grit their teeth and go through some pretty unpleasant times. And she made the cuts that were necessary. She put taxes up, didn't she? Put VAT up and stuff like that. And she concentrated on repaying some of the national debt. She was very unpopular for doing that. In fact, if it wasn't for the Falklands War in 1982, I don't know whether she would have got voted back in for a second term, but she did. And she carried on. And we did come out the other end. And national debt was brought right down. The economy improved. I think over for every year Thatcher was in, which was 10 years that she was in, wasn't it? Is the economy improved by about 2.6% every year for the 10 years. So that's good. So the economy really improved. It's not just making it improve for 1 or 2 years. For 10 years, 2.6 every year for Britain is very, very good indeed. So she certainly got the economy back on its feet. But we had to go through that unpleasantness and hardship, very, very much a hardship that people had to go through so she could turn things around. And yes, she took some power away from the unions. And I think she had to. I don't think there was much choice about that because it was the matter of who runs the country, the government or the trade unions. Well, people vote for a government. They don't vote to bring trade unions in. Trade unionists can always turn politicians if they want to be involved in that, of course. So that basically had to be done. But the end result was she turned the country round. And then that was basically a Thatcher years. So why he wants to go back to the 70s, Christ knows. I don't know quite what he means by that. So you can figure that one out yourselves. Have a look at the 70s. You can look on YouTube and tick up, 1970s political Britain or the economy in Britain or whatever, and have a look for yourselves. But looking at the man anyway, he's got in, hasn't he? And he's got. They were saying they were going through his new cabinet. Now I'm not going to go through the cabinet one by one because that's a bit of a waste of time. I know some of them to take the piss out of, but I don't know all of them well enough to take the piss. So it wouldn't be too entertaining either, really. But I mean, we've got some obvious ones here, Miliband, God, kept that monkey in. Oh my God, what an idiot he is. Unbelievable. And they bought the Ginger Growler back, haven't they? Ginger Growler. And they put her in charge of housing. My God almighty. She was going to build 1.5 million houses, wasn't she? By 2029. My God. So goodness knows what she's going to do now. She's well behind on that one. Who else have we got? Oh, we got Streeting. Streeting in defence. Doesn't know anything about defence. So why not? Who else would you put in charge of defence? But somebody that's never known anything about defence at all. Absolutely something else, isn't it? So what we got here? We've got this 12 out of 28 people in the cabinet. Only 7 of them have got experience or any sort of that would suggest they're qualified for the job. So there's 21 people in post. They've got no experience in the job that they've got into. So haven't got a clue. And then we've got, who have we got? We got that minister in, that really new minister, young lass. Can't remember her name, so I'm not going to go there. But anyway, Cooper's still in. Cooper is the health secretary. Oh, dear. Is that right? Is that correct? Oh, my God, it's correct. Yeah. Yvette Cooper, honest to God, talk about bad taste. And that Lucy Powell, oh, my God, she is a nasty bit of work, isn't she? But so it doesn't really fill one with sort of much confidence, really. That person that she's put for energy and net zero. a very far left person, isn't it? And her father apparently was a politician in a foreign third world government that was very much a dictatorship. So his daughter pops up in the British government running energy, and net zero just makes common sense, doesn't it? You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. But, this one is a far left communist person that's right into net zero. So, this business about, they were saying, wasn't it, that Burnham might be opening up some drilling in the North Sea, but I thought that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. And if he was going to do it, just be a little bit, just to get some votes, really. So anyway, he's got in, and he's taken 5% off electric bills, isn't he? My God, that's amazing, that is, isn't it? What else? Always going to cap bus fares to £2. He's going to cap bus fares to £2. That's really important, big stuff, isn't it? So let's consider where things are at, shall we? Let's consider where things are at, and what sort of decisions and what policies this government needs to be looking at. Because it's not really about knocking 5% off your electricity, and it's not really about putting a cap of £2 on a bus fare, is it? I think there's things that are slightly more important in the country. So he's walked through the doors of number 10 on Monday, and what he's got there is he's got a government that is taxing its people more than it's been taxed since the Second World War. We've got a country that is £3 trillion in debt, and we're getting further in debt every month by more than any other country in the world except Botswana. So we got no money, have we? We are continuing to vastly spend a lot more money than we're actually getting in, which really, at the end of the day, is taking us towards a disaster. So that's what money we've got. Now, what's this man been talking about? He's been talking about some nationalisation of water. Where's he going to get the money from? North Sea oil, I don't think for a minute he's going to do it. But those aren't the important things, are they? Now, when somebody's coming into a situation that he's coming into, then I think really at the end of the day, what's most important? Obviously, the economy is important because we've got to turn around this monetary situation, haven't we? We have no money. We've got to sort ourselves out. We've got to make cuts where the hell we can make cuts. We've got to minimise putting up taxes because people have got the highest taxes since World War II at least, if not a lot longer. And that is something that can't be maintained in the long term. It's very questionable how much tax that's bringing in, because a lot of people, the rich people, are moving abroad. A lot of the not so rich are moving abroad as well, which means we're losing a lot of tax, because the people we're losing from this country are people that have been contributing by working, contributing by paying taxes, very high taxes, obviously, in the cases of the rich and the middle upper classes. And all that tax is being lost. So there's a lot of tax that's flying out the window by people leaving the country. So this business of putting tax up hasn't really worked. It would be very interesting to see what the actual tax receipts are. I would suggest that we're probably getting no more tax in than we were before all these tax rises. Probably getting a bit less, because all that's beginning to happen now is the ordinary working class person in this country and pensioners are having to pay extra tax to make up for the lost tax of these people that have been leaving the country. So what's happened is that we're worse off. And that isn't going to change. And it'll actually get worse if he starts putting more taxes up. Even if he's taxing the rich, it'll just encourage more of them to go. If he starts fiddling around and messing about with council tax and taxes relating to property, then that is just going to make more people go. It's going to make the ordinary working class person poorer and poorer and poorer in this country. Mark my words. So obviously there's the economy to sort out. So we need to be attracting people back. That's how to get the tax revenue up properly. We need to look everywhere where we're spending money and thinking, what cuts can we make? Can we afford to keep paying out for foreign aid? Well, apparently he's doubled foreign aid, an extra £11 billion a year on foreign aid. We're supposed to be looking at cutting. We haven't got any money. We need to be cutting money, not spending more. It does not make sense. So we need to be cutting on foreign aid. We need to cut it down to practically nothing. We need to cut it right back. We have to put ourselves first until we get on our feet. And when our economy is healthy, we can start looking again at sending money from foreign aid. We need to be looking at controlling immigration. And that is not racist to say that. Controlled immigration is what every country used to do. It's what all the countries now that started to have open borders, France, Germany, etc., are now turning round and clamping down and controlling their immigration because they now know they were wrong in having open borders. We watched Merkel in Germany letting millions of illegal immigrants into Germany. Germany's learnt its lesson. We watched at the time when it all backfired in Germany for very similar reasons that it has done here and is doing here. And we didn't learn from it. We need to learn. Wake up. Andy Capp Burnham, wake up. We need to sort the mess out, not start spending more money. We have to make cuts. And we need somebody with the balls of Margaret Thatcher to actually turn around, be honest with the country and say, you're in a mess. We're in a right mess. We've got to sort it out. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. This is what we're going to have to do. We need controlled immigration. We need to be cutting all the money down that we're spending on illegal immigrants. They need to be going back home. They need to be rejected. We can't afford to be paying all this money out because we have not got it. We have not got the infrastructure for it in the NHS, in education, in housing or anything else like that. And we haven't got the money to build the infrastructure now either. So we have to stop this and control immigration properly. And part of controlling immigration is to stop illegal immigration forthwith for lots of reasons, but economically is one of them. Education. Well, we need to be looking at cutting education if we can. We need to be looking at doing away with all these diversity posts all through the welfare state and education system. It's, again, money we can't afford to spend. Whether you believe in diversity or not, it's immaterial. We cannot afford to spend this money at the moment. It needs to go. We need to look at the welfare state as a whole. We need to look at the NHS and see what savings can be made in the NHS, which will be waste. We need to get somebody from business in to look at the NHS, look at how waste can be cut and save some money there. We need to be looking at unemployment benefit. We need to be making as much cuts as we can there. The people that are out working are contributing enough at the moment, paying the highest taxes since World War II or before. We can't be taxing people more. It'll suppress the economy. So we're going to have to make cuts. Where we're going to have to spend money, if anything, is defence. Because believe me, this country is defenceless at the moment, absolutely defenceless and up the creek. And if we don't pull our finger out with defence, then we're going to be easy pickings. These people out there who are our enemies, I won't go through a list of our enemies, you can work that out yourself, but we have enemies out there. They will be eyeing us up. If they see us as weak, they will start striking. Believe me, they will. They have done, but they will be more and more and more. What we need is a strong defence. so that these people look at us and think, oh, right, we better not mess with them. That is the only thing that the people that are our enemies, and we have enemies, let's make no doubt about this. Let's not have all this mamby-pamby things about the whole world loving each other. That is not the reality. So what I say is wake up, look at the situation and sort the mess out. And don't want to hear all this rubbish about nationalisation when we haven't got the money to do it, or all these other things that the Burnham's thinking of. We have not got the money to do it, Burnham. Think about it. So that's what I think of the Burnham government. I think that Burnham has probably planned to get into the position that he's in, probably over a year ago, using the Mayor of Manchester position to get there. He's thinking of his own aims in his narcissistic way. But there's no substance there. The man has not got the tools for the job in any way whatsoever. No more than Starmer did. In fact, he might even end up being worse than Starmer if he's going to progress as he is. He needs to be making friends with the United States of America and not carrying on being like the spoilt little private school brat that's self-entitled and kicking back against the American establishment, and needs to work together with the United States of America. They are not our enemy. They are our friend. We've got enough enemies to be thinking of. So anyway, sorry, there's not much humour in it today, is there? I'm going to have to work at building something up and then we can have a funny one. But please, in comments, let me know what you think. Let me know whether you think that Andy Capp Burnham is going to be a good Prime Minister, that he is what you want at 10 Downing Street, or whether you have views a bit different from that, or whether you follow my views that he's completely wrong and he needs to actually look at the mess we're in and get us out of the mess and stop wasting money and save money where he can. So let me know in your comments, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll pick up on this again later.